time to grow up, girls, like fast. Like this is the player that got you off the airline that was bright yellow.
Colin Cowherd, a sports analyst, has never avoided controversy, but what he recently disclosed regarding fans of Caitlin Clark are shocked, perplexed, and enraged. In a moment that is making headlines, Cowherd revealed a side of Clark, something few anticipated, and it's causing a huge backlash. His claims weren't just unexpected, they've cast a shadow over one of basketball's fastest rising talents. So, is this a media hit job gone too far, or is it the brutal reality no one wanted to acknowledge? In any case, Caitlin's reputation might never recover from this. Colin Cowherd forecasts Michael Jordan's destiny for Caitlin Clark. Colin Cowherd made a compelling and thought-provoking analogy in a section of his show between Michael Jordan's early NBA career and Caitlin Clark's current circumstances in the WNBA. His comments indicated something more profound than talent or numbers. The way supremacy on the court encourages physical vengeance, and how Jordan and Clark were targeted almost away once they succeeded with unquestionable talent. Michael Jordan didn't take long to establish himself in the NBA. He was a scoring machine from the start of his rookie campaign, averaging an incredible 28.2 points per game. Everyone watching could see that defenders were unable to keep up. His style was electrifying, his maneuvers unstoppable, and his self-assurance was evident in every possession. However, things changed in his second year. It wasn't because he slowed down. However, defenders increased their physical assault after realizing they were unable to stop him lawfully. Jordan scored more than 28 points in 2 of the first 3 games in his sophomore campaign. Defenders only needed to see that. They began playing him with bruising vigor. Eventually, such physical strain had an adverse effect. Jordan sustained a severe foot injury that prevented him from the court for 4 months. Cowherd perceives Caitlin Clark as a mirror reflection of this. Like Jordan, when it came to her inaugural season in the WNBA, Clark didn't ease her way into professional basketball. She accomplished an amazing performance for any rookie, averaging 19.2 points and 8.4 assists per game. Her inventiveness. The league was astounded by her ability to make shots and see the floor. By the end of the season, she had earned her spot on the All-WNBA first team. However, her rapid ascent to fame has also had a price. Currently, in her second year, Clark is up against a level of physical defense that verges on recklessness. Cowherd claims that defenders are hurling themselves at her in a desperate attempt to confine her by playing strong, occasionally hazardous basketball. Even worse, officials appear to be ignoring the situation. Cowherd stated that the officiating has altered and that she was injured again last night. Many things that seem virtually indecent are being ignored by officials. This lack of protection is starting to demonstrate. As the season goes on, Clark has been smacked around a lot and is finding it difficult to maintain full health. For Cowherd, it's a sign of strength rather than weakness. The league hasn't figured out how to skillfully stop her. Physical punishment appears to be the last remaining alternative, similar to what Jordan endured in the 1980s. In the first year, Cowherd remarked, "You're like, wow, nobody plays like that." In the second year, Michael Jordan suffered an injury. Why did MJ get hurt so early? Caitlin Clark is getting hurt. Because no one knew how to stop him, they were tackling him. Cowherd isn't merely exaggerating Clark's experience by drawing comparisons to Michael Jordan's. Instead, he's highlighting a more profound reality about brilliance in sports. Opponents react fearfully when an athlete alters the game, and that dread frequently manifests as unadulterated physicality. Like Michael Jordan, Caitlin Clark is viewed not only as a player but also as an issue that needs to be resolved. Cowherd's comparison appears to be sound because the facts are clearly stated. Nevertheless, it is still unclear how she was impacted by recklessness. Let's examine the specifics of Caitlin's careless interactions in court. Caitlin Clark's Jordan-like test of greatness. Although she has experienced pressure before, this season has presented more at her than anybody could have predicted. Clark, one of the WNBA's brightest players, is learning the hard way. Her figure, her rhythm, and perhaps her all-star appearance are currently the price of excellence. Early in the 2025 WNBA season, Clark was already required to miss 5 games, and he appeared to endure a terrible setback during the Indiana Fever's most recent victory over the Connecticut Sun. Shortly after giving out, with her face contorted in agony and tears welling up in her eyes, she clutched her groin and hobbled toward the sidelines after a smooth pass. It appeared to be more than simply physical. The All-Star game is quickly approaching, but her availability is abruptly unclear. Clark has been subjected to a barrage of physical play even when she's on the floor. It's the kind of physicality that verges on being excessive, pushing and bodying her up almost every possession. However, officials' whistles have been annoyingly quiet. The absence of foul calls isn't simply she is psychologically and physically exhausted as a result of being thrown off her game, a discernible decline in shooting. Because of the continual contact, her distinctive sharpness has diminished. However, a sports commentator claims that all of this indicates, Colin Cowherd, that Caitlin Clark is already a formidable opponent. Like Michael Jordan in his second NBA season, Clark is so respected, almost intimidating, that defenders are taking drastic measures to lengths only to slow her down. And when athletes begin to garner such attention at an early stage of their careers, it's an obvious indication that they're changing the game. The analogy to Jordan is audacious but not unfounded. After suffering a foot ailment, a youthful Michael Jordan scored an incredible 43.7 points per game in the 1986 playoffs. Game average. It was a historic performance that silenced detractors and signaled the start of a dynasty. Clark is now faced with the same dilemma. Her goal is evident: rise above the suffering, the uncalled fouls, the wounds, and the skeptics. Like Jordan, she'll have to work hard, rekindle her passion, and make a return that not only rescues her season but also shapes her legacy. It won't be simple. Fighting a persistent injury under extreme strain, she needs to figure out how to get her flow back and show everyone why she's the most talked about player in women's basketball. Can she pull it off, though? The question lingers in the air like a buzzer beater. Clark's fortitude, her basketball IQ, and competitive passion indicate that she can. She has already displayed moments of brilliance this season, cutting through elite defenses, spearheading quick breaks, and motivating millions of people. Her court vision is still unmatched, and even when her shots have failed, her leadership hasn't. That type of inner strength doesn't disappear in the face of hardship. If anything, it gets bigger. Nevertheless, the task ahead is difficult. The WNBA is keeping an eye on it. Fans are hoping, and detractors are ready to attack. She might need her own Jordan moment to quiet the cries. Ailments vanish into the background of her excellence over a run of games so dominant that all misgivings are erased. Clark needs to find a way to express her frustration, whether it's during the second half of the season or during a playoff push. Safeguard her body and climb with newfound vigor. Caitlin Clark is under a lot of pressure and has suffered setbacks due to injuries. But if she has talent and perseverance, she could overcome hardship and achieve greatness. Her next action could define her legendary ascent. As Caitlin keeps shattering records, she also expanded her list of opponents who suffer on her. Let's examine her vulnerability in court in more depth. Caitlin Clark, targeted and unprotected. In the Indiana Fever's tough victory over the Connecticut Sun, Caitlin Clark once more discovered herself at the center of controversy, not because of her outstanding performance but rather because of how she was handled. On the court, commotion broke out in a dramatic moment during the third quarter. Clark was first swiped across the eye by J.C. Sheldon, a painful and hazardous encounter. Just a few seconds later, she was thrown hurtling to the floor by Marina Mabrey, which many spectators and commentators thought was an obvious foul that would perhaps have led to an ejection. Surprisingly, Marina Mabrey continued to play despite just being called for a technical foul. Even more perplexing, additionally, Clark received a technical for reacting after being poked in the eye. This caused a stir on social media, rekindling an ongoing discussion about the WNBA officials' handling of Clark-related incidents. The former collegiate sensation turned professional star Caitlin Clark has never requested preferential treatment. Her supporters aren't calling for her to be protected from the physical aspects of the game or given special treatment. Clark has continuously demonstrated that she is more than capable of withstanding fierce competition and extreme physicality. She is tough, resilient, and intelligent. However, it's getting harder to ignore the growing list of dubious plays about her that either receive little or no punishment. It could easily lead to flagrants or even ejections if the roles were reversed or the player wasn't Clark. Additionally, this is not an isolated instance. Chennedy Carter's notorious hip check earlier in the season was one of the most obvious instances in which Clark was taken aback in a play that appeared more like something from a wrestling ring rather than a basketball game. That incident also received a lot of criticism. However, the league's reaction was mediocre at best. This is the main problem. Clark isn't your typical rookie. She is maybe the league's most valuable player in terms of both economic and cultural value, not just points or assists. Impact. She has generated extraordinary fan involvement, sold-out arenas, and record-breaking viewership to the WNBA. Nevertheless, she seems to be getting the least protection on the court. Clark, of course, attracts more attention from defenders. That's part of being excellent. Physicality is a natural feature of competitive sports, of course. However, there is a boundary between playing hard and playing carelessly, and that boundary has been crossed too frequently in Clark's case, with little to no repercussions for the perpetrators. The issue is not limited to the athletes, but with the league officials and referees. The WNBA has repeatedly failed to adequately handle these circumstances. These are not only missed calls, they are recurring errors that convey a concerning message. Physical aggressiveness becomes commonplace when it is not punished and when it is directed. It calls into doubt fairness, consistency, and even safety for the league's most promising young player. Clark keeps rising in spite of everything. Against the Sun, she gave another outstanding performance. Despite the aggressive play and dubious officiating, she appears to dismiss these incidents with the same poise she utilizes to make three-pointers when under pressure. However, a common worry is starting to be expressed by fans, commentators, and even other athletes. How much longer will this continue? Ironically, Clark's alleged special treatment has now turns out to be the complete reverse. Rather of receiving calls that are favorable to her, she has become the victim of missed whistles and ignore fouls. The WNBA has an obligation to safeguard Clark as well as to maintain the integrity of the game. If this tendency persists, it will harm not just one player but the league as a whole. Due to her injury, Caitlin has missed several games, which is detrimental to her. Let's discuss Caitlin's departure from the games. Caitlin Clark's removal from All-Star Games. Caitlin Clark, the exceptional rookie and rising WNBA star, recently broke the devastating news to fans nationwide. In a statement posted on Instagram, the 23-year-old guard disclosed to her team, the Indiana Fever, that she will miss both of the much-anticipated three-point contest and the 2024 WNBA All-Star Game. I regret to inform you that I will not be able to take part. My body needs rest, Clark remarked. I'll still be at Gainbridge Fieldhouse cheering on everyone and helping. Our team was led to triumph by coach Sandy Brondello. Clark's announcement was made barely hours after a concerning scene during the Connecticut Sun game on Tuesday night. In a closely contested game that resulted in an 85-77 victory for. In the last minute of play, Clark seemed to worsen a prior groin injury. It was only her fourth game back, after missing 5 games due to a left-sided groin issue. This time, though, it appeared to be the right side, causing her problems. The injury occurred soon after she helped teammate Kelsey Mitchell with a well-timed bounce pass that resulted in a simple layup. However, as the play progressed, Clark was shown hobbling, her hand clutching the inside of her right thigh. Feeling frustrated and clearly in agony, she moved slowly along the court before lowering her head into the cushioned basket support in what seemed to be a painful moment. Later, she sat on the bench with a towel over her head, attempting to conceal her tears from the throng. She simply sensed a slight sensation in her groin. In a press conference following the game, Fever head coach Stephanie White stated, "We'll get her evaluated and go." From then on, Clark, who was renowned for her unwavering perseverance, had never missed a game during her college or early professional career prior to this season. Nevertheless, she has already been sidelined this year alone. 410 games, including the Commissioner's Cup final and 9 games during the regular season. Despite her injury, despite having a difficult night shooting the ball, Clark yet had a big impact on Tuesday's game. She came alive in the fourth quarter, scoring 14 points on 4 of 14 shots, including just 1 of 7 from outside the arc. Quarter, scoring 9 of her 14 points when her team most needed them. She also pulled down 8 rebounds. He provided 7 assists, enabling the Fever to win for the third time in a row and raise their record to 12-10. Clark's significance on the court is demonstrated by the fact that the Fever are now 5 feet 5 inches without her. Adding to the bittersweetness of her absence is because Clark was been named captain of the All-Star Game, which is a fantastic honor for a rookie player. She was also chosen to participate in the popular three-point competition. Both events were anticipated to be major highlights of All-Star Weekend, as fans throughout the country were drawn to Clark's presence. With averages of 16.5 points, 5.0 rebounds, 8.8 assists, and 1.6 steals per game, Clark's season statistics are still outstanding. These figures have cemented her as the frontrunner while also showcasing her talent and adaptability for the 2024 Rookie of the Year award. Although Clark and her supporters find it difficult to accept